is a News at 10. First, the highlights. Lagos State Government empowers 1,700 vulnerable residents with work tools cash grants. Government scraps bilateral education agreement scholarship program. On the foreign scene, Pakistan minister warns of possible Indian strike on Islamabad. And in sport, Ikene to host National Women's Football League Super 6 playoff. Now the details. I am Dele Agadumo. Lagos State Government has empowered 1,700 vulnerable indigent residents and graduates of various vocational centers across the state with work tools and cash grants to further deepen efforts aimed at creating a 21st century economy. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, while addressing beneficiaries at the 2025 Micro Enterprise Support Initiative organized by the Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, explained that the present administration has spent about 10 billion naira in training, equipment and grants to ensure micro enterprises can contribute their quota to the state's economy. Governor Sanwo-Olu also described micro enterprise support as a way to teach indigent and vulnerable Lagosians what the dividends of democracy while ensuring that they become self-reliant employers of labor and contributors to the state's economic growth.
There's an opportunity for you to use it wisely, to grow your business, to be able to create jobs, and over time support others. Your success is indeed our success. Your progress is indeed our progress. Because it's only when we all progress together that the state progresses. It's only when we all succeed together that the state succeeds. So it's not about the governor, it's not about the commissioner or cabinet members, it's about each and every one of you that have been given the opportunity here today.
In her goodwill message, wife of the Lagos State Governor, Ibijake Sanwo-Olu, who was represented by the wife of the Deputy Governor, Oluremi Hamzat, noted that the MESSI program is a shining example of the present administration's commitment to empowering women and youth to become independent and key players in their various sectors.
The state dedication of empowering women and those especially vulnerable through poverty alleviation is truly commendable. This initiative has not only provided financial support for the generous micro enterprises, but has also equipped them with the necessary skills and training to strive in their respective industries and endeavors.
Earlier, Commissioner for Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Bolaji Dada, said under the Themes Plus agenda, the state government is redoubling its focus on social inclusion and economic self-reliance, urging beneficiaries to pay forward the benefits they have received by mentoring others in their various communities.
Do not sell these equipments. They are meant to empower you. They are meant to move you from this level to the next level.
The essential tools distributed include cake mixers, sewing machines, spoken kilns, barbing kits, POS terminals, photography equipment, agricultural equipment, among others. Wife of Lagos State Governor Ibijake Sanwo-Olu has flagged off a walk to end polio and called for efforts to strengthen routine immunization across the state. The walk for polio is in commemoration of the World Immunization Week 2025 with the theme Humanly Possible, Saving Lives Through Immunization, organized by the state government in collaboration with the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, and other development partners. Mrs. Sanwo-Olu called on parents, health workers, community leaders and policymakers to intensify efforts to ensure that no child is left behind in the fight against vaccine-preventable diseases. She harped on community mobilization and active grassroots engagement to debunk vaccine myths and misinformation, emphasizing that her office will continue working with the Ministry of Health to drive awareness and reach undeserved areas. The White behalf of the Deputy Governor Oluremi Hamzat, who also addressed the gathering, challenged attendees to become ambassadors for immunization. On his part, the Permanent Secretary, Primary Health Care Board, Ibrahim Mustafa, advocated collective effort, stronger action, renewed commitment to prevent every child in the state from vaccine-preventable viruses.
Lagos State, despite its progress, still carries a body of zero-dose children. These are children that have never received any dose of routine vaccine. And as you know, each zero-dose child represents not just a gap in our system, but a risk to the rest of us.
The National Immunization Plus Days will start from May 3 to 6, during which children aged 0 to 59 months will receive 2 doses of oral polio vaccine free of charge. The Lagos State government has been commended for putting necessary apparatus in place to ensure the protection of lives and property of residents. This came to the fore at a stakeholders meeting organized by Lagos State Government and National Institute for Security Studies, NISS. Participants at the event with the theme Non-State Actors in Security Management Issues, Challenges and Prospects for Peace and Development in Africa lauded the Lagos State Government for the establishment of various agencies to tackle all forms of insecurity, ranging from traffic, waste management, criminal activities, among others. The participants said Lagos State remains the safest in Nigeria as a result of heavy investment in a security architecture, calling on other states in the country to emulate Lagos by adopting its security system. Speaking at the event, representative of the Permanent Secretary's Office of the Chief of Staff, Akimade Akinyade, assured that Lagos State will continue to build on the existing tempo to sustain security. He said Lagos State does not joke with the 6th pillar of its Themes Plus agenda, which is security and governance, urging Lagosians at all levels, grassroots communities to also get involved, treat security as a collective responsibility, and always say something when they see something.
It is the responsibility of everyone to ensure that we secure our country. Lagos State has a solid structure. That is what is working in the state for us. And we can see that the state is so peaceful. Consistently over the years, I can say in the last 10 years, Lagos State has been peaceful. And we don't have any issue concerning security. Section 14(2)(b) of Nigerian Constitution says the primary responsibility of every government is to protect life and property of our citizens. All actors in this regard must ensure that we carry out our responsibility.
Participants of the Executive Intelligence Management Course 18 of the National Institute of Security Studies, Abuja, are in Lagos on a study tour as part of their 10-month course to build security across the country. Other participants include personnel of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LASMA, LNSA, LOMA, Department of State Security, DSS, Nigeria Correctional Service, NCOS, Economic and National Crimes Commission, EFCC, National Population Commission, representatives of Arewa, Izindigbo in Lagos, Youth Council, CDCs and CDAs. Lagos State Government has released a diversion plan ahead of the emergency repairs on Oworoshoki 3rd Axial Road Bridge, scheduled to commence from Tuesday 6th May to 23rd September. Commissioner for Transportation Oluwaseun Oshiemi in a statement explained that the repairs will be carried out in 8 phases on both lanes, with phases 1 to 4 covering the stretch of Oworoshoki, a 3rd Axial Bridge, inbound 3rd Mainland Bridge. This will hold within 50 days between 6th May and 14th July, while phases 5 to 8 covering the stretch of Oworoshoki, 3rd Axial Bridge, that is outbound 3rd Mainland Bridge, for 51 days between 15th July and 23rd September. Oshiemi advised motorists to use alternative routes during the aforementioned phases of the repairs. The commissioner assured that LASMA officers will be on ground to minimize inconvenience and manage traffic flow along the aforementioned routes during the maintenance works. Now to the rest of the stories. The federal government has announced the cancellation of the Bilateral Education Agreement Scholarship Program, BEA, describing it as an unsustainable and inefficient use of public funds. The decision follows months of complaints by stranded Nigerian scholars abroad who accuse the government of failing to meet its financial obligations under the scheme. Speaking during a courtesy visit by newly elected officials of the National Association of Nigerian Students, the Minister of Education, Toji Alausa, announced a definitive end to the program, stating that the government would redirect BEA funding to domestic scholarship programs to reach a broader number of students across the country. Alausa expressed dissatisfaction with the lack of oversight and performance monitoring under the BEA, noting that the government sponsors annual travel for scholars without tracking their academic progress. The minister also stated that every single course 1,200 students are studying abroad is also offered in Nigerian universities. He confirmed that while current BEA beneficiaries will be supported to complete their programs, the scheme will not accept new admissions beyond 2025. The Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, has crushed no fewer than 601 motorcycles impounded for violating traffic regulations in Abuja. According to the FCT, the development reinforced its ongoing campaign against the use of commercial motorcycles, popularly known as Okadas, within prohibited areas of the city. Speaking at the crushing exercise, Mandate Secretary for Transport, Elechi Chinedum, said the action was backed by existing laws and aimed at enhancing both security and traffic order in the capital. Chinedum noted that the FCTA was also increasingly concerned about the security implications of commercial motorcycle operations. He added that these motorcycles have been used more frequently in crimes, armed robbery, kidnapping and other forms of criminality. Now to foreign news. Pakistan's Minister for Information and Broadcasting, Ataullah Tara, says Islamabad has credible intelligence that India intends to launch a military strike within the next 24 to 36 hours as tensions between the two countries escalate following a deadly attack in Indian-administered Kashmir. In a post via social media, Ataullah Tara accused India of using last week's attack in Pahalgam, which killed 26 tourists, as a false pretext to potentially strike Pakistan. Tara said via a post on X that any act of aggression will be met with a decisive response and that India will be fully responsible for any serious consequences in the region. Pakistani Minister of Defense Khawaja Asif also said that a military incursion by India was imminent, stressing that Islamabad is on high alert but will only use its nuclear weapons if there is a direct threat to their existence. In our sports, the Nigeria Women Football League NWFL has officially announced Ikenne, Ogun State as the host city for the 2024-2025 NWFL P Super 6 tournament. The tournament will be returning to the Southwest region for the first time since the 2021 edition held in Ijebu-Ode. The season-defining title playoff is scheduled to take place from Thursday 8th of May to Sunday, May 17, 2025 at the Remo Stars Stadium, the home ground of Remo Stars Ladies. Speaking on the selection, NWFL chairperson Nkechi Obi said on behalf of the board and management of the NWFL, I congratulate Ikenne and Ogun State on being selected to host this year's NWFL Premiership Super 6. This is a significant opportunity to further stimulate the revival of women's football in the state, fondly remembered as host of the inaugural Women's Africa Cup of Nations finals in 1998 and to elevate the profile of the women's game nationwide. And that is our news at 10. Just before we go, stay alive. Make use of pedestrian bridges where available. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms: X at Traffic Radio 961, Facebook Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, Instagram Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Subscribe and watch your news and programs live on YouTube at Traffic Radio 961. You can also visit our website www.trafficradio961.ng. Did you know that under the Sanwo-Olu administration, 280 youths were trained in solar farm construction? You can get more details on the Lagos State Government website. To end the news, try the highlights of the major stories. Lagos State Government has empowered 1,700 vulnerable indigent residents and graduates of various vocational centers across the state with work tools and cash grants to further deepen efforts aimed at creating a 21st century economy. The federal government has announced the cancellation of the Bilateral Education Agreement Scholarship Program, BEA, describing it as an unsustainable and inefficient use of public funds. We also told you that Pakistan's Minister for Information and Broadcasting, Ataullah Tara, has said Islamabad has credible intelligence that India intends to launch a military strike within the next 24 to 36 hours. And in sports, the Nigeria Women Football League, NWFL, has officially announced Ikenne, Ogun State as the host city for the 2024-2025 NWFL P Super 6 tournament. For contact with the newsroom, send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. That is the news broadcast compiled by Mojid Ololade. I am Dele Agadumo. Good morning. Thank you for listening.